And we are live. Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Jason Hebert Live. We have another missing persons interview for you with the loved one of a missing person. Tonight is not our normal time slot. We typically do these about 9 p.m. And right now is my 4 p.m. because our guest is in the UK. So they're 5 hours later than us. So I didn't want to keep them up till 2, 3 in the morning. So I do apologize. This is my morning. I'm still drinking coffee and trying to wake up. So hopefully I'm on my game here today. But we want to be accommodating because she's in a very different time zone. So hopefully I do a good job for you guys. But if you're not familiar with the channel, we interview the loved ones of either missing persons or unsolved crimes to help spread awareness and hopefully help bring them home, or at the very least get closure for the families. So if you are into that, please click subscribe below and set the notification bell to all, and you'll be notified every time we are about to go live with a new interview. Our show is interactive. You can participate in the chat and ask your own questions. So you get the story directly from the horse's mouth versus someone just telling you their version of it. You get the people who are actually involved in it telling you the story. The number one thing that I'm asked is how you can help share the story. And of course, you could share it on social media and things like that. But this is something I started saying last night. I'm going to say this a lot, guys, because it's important. Participating in the chat is huge, but there's a comment section below. If you have any ideas, theories, questions for the guest, anything like that, put them in that comment section. That's what tells YouTube that this is a video people enjoy. Every comment it gets, it sends it out to more people, and it tells YouTube, advertise this to more people because people are into this video. So the very best thing you can do to help spread awareness about the case is to comment below. But also participate in the chat, but it's kind of two totally different things. Tonight we have the case of Charles Horvath. A lot of the cases we do are 48 hours old, or maybe a few months, a year, a couple years. This one is over 30 years old. He was born in Canada, but he grew up in the UK. He's a British national, as is Denise. You'll be able to tell by her lovely accent. But this is a case that took place in Canada, and Denise will kind of go over the details with us. Because of its age, there was so much information on it that it was almost like too much information. It was very typically I have 3 or 4 articles that I can kind of rip stuff from and whip up a script. With this one, there was so much I didn't kind of know where to start, and there were some accusations of lying in certain places, things not lining up. So I didn't quite know where to start. So what I'm going to do versus my normal writing of a script is I'm just going to kind of read the Wikipedia entry. Denise, who is Charles's mother and is our guest tonight, she did tell me that she believes she probably wrote most of the Wikipedia, and she believes that it may have been edited, so there might be an error or two. So if I say something wrong, she will correct us. But she said for the most part, it should be correct. So let me give you guys some of the details. Because this isn't our normal time slot, we don't have quite as many people here. We have about 20 right now. I'm just kind of waiting for it to fill up a little before I start going over the details. But let me just a moment. Hello to everyone that is in the chat. Kathy, no one has this name. Missing Puzzle Piece, Bianca Myers, Jalen Blaze, Be United. And also check out Be United, guys. Be United Missing Persons is a group that helps make flyers. They help with the missing. They do a ton of stuff. They have both a Facebook group and a website. They're absolutely amazing, and their links are in the description below, as well as Denise's contact information online and Charles's page for the Charles missing page. I believe it's the name is a 1989 Kelowna's cold case murder of Charles KJ Horvath Allan. And Denise will kind of go into the details of that. Charles has been declared legally dead. Hello to Elizabeth Gibbs, Rachel Newman, Denise McGarity, Alberta Proud, everyone. Okay, we got a few more people in here. So I'm going to get started on the basic story, and then we will introduce and bring on Denise. Just a moment. Okay. So Charles KJ Horvath Allan is a Canadian-born British national who went missing whilst hiking across Canada in 1989. He disappeared from the city of Kelowna in British Columbia, Canada, leaving his tent and personal effects behind. According to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the RCMP, the case is still an open investigation. I believe that's not correct anymore because I know she did have him declared legally, but she'll go over that with us. Horvath Allan had been visiting his father and godfather in Ontario before hiking and backpacking across Canada when he arrived on May 3rd, 1989, in the city of Kelowna in British Columbia. He had been staying at a local hostel, the homes of his friends, in the tiny tent town campsite and RV park, 3316 Lakeshore Road, V1W3TU1, which is near Route 97 in the city. And he registered at various student employment agencies during May of 1989. Excuse me. He was last positively identified on May 26th of 1989, cashing a check at a bank in Orchard Park. He was due to meet up with his mother and stepfather in Hong Kong for his 21st birthday, which would have been his mother's 40th, in August of that year. He last contacted his parents by fax on May 11th, 1989, but failed to contact them again to enable his mother to purchase his ticket to travel to Hong Kong. A missing persons listing for Horvath Allan noted that he left behind his tent and personal belongings and that foul play is suspected. One source claims that they met Horvath Allan in May 1989 and allowed him to stay at their home in Kelowna. The same source claims they saw him alive in the Live Wire nightclub in August of 1989, but this claim is unverified. Before we bring on Denise, I just want to say anything that we talk about here, we make no hard accusations on the show, whether myself or my guests. Everything is alleged, and there are no hard accusations. So tonight we bring on Denise, who hopes that telling his story here will help motivate someone who knows something to come forward, because somebody always knows something. So Denise, I just want to say I'm so sorry for what you're going through. We're going to do everything we can. I know you've done a lot of media on this case, but I'm hoping I can help bring about some kind of change.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the show tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. And I hope you guys can hear. We can't figure out what the background noise is, so we do apologize for that. We tried a couple different things, but as long as we can hear her, that's all that's important. So just let us know as long as you can hear us in the chat. Okay, Denise, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about Charles in general, and then kind of lead us into, it talked about your plans to meet in Hong Kong and all that. Do you want to tell us the days and weeks leading into his disappearance, what we do know?
Charles was born in Canada, and we returned to England when he was 5 weeks old. And he grew up in England. His father returned to Canada, and Charles went to visit over the years his father and grandmother and godfather. In September 1988, Charles left for his fateful trip to Canada. He had an open ticket. He was going to work when he could and hitchhike across the country, and ultimately we were planning to meet up for his birthday. We discussed this for a year at various points where we would meet, and the last time we discussed it was in April 89, when he was by this time in Banff, Alberta. And it was discussed about rendezvousing in Hong Kong, where I'd gone to school when I was young, and I was looking forward to share experiences and where we lived with him. He was in touch the whole time, from Quebec through across Canada until he got to Kelowna, British Columbia. The last letter I received from him was by fax, which he sent on the 11th of May 1989, and it was discussing the price of his plane ticket to Hong Kong and his job prospects, how's his nana, how are the cats, and to call a friend of his in Leeds for him. I expected a phone call any day after that to enable me to book the tickets, and sadly the phone call never came.
Okay. So you said job prospects. If I'm understanding, you're talking about the job prospects would have been in Canada, right? The Hong Kong trip was more so just kind of a meetup for your birthdays, or was he planning on staying in Hong Kong? Just to make sure I understand.
The birthday rendezvous in Hong Kong would have been the end of his journey. crossing Canada, and I would have assumed he would have come home then.
Oh, I see. So it would have been in the UK when you said you discussed job prospects?
No, he was working in Canada when he was able. He had a social insurance number, had been born there. And I believe he'd discussed with his father maybe going to work with him in Saskatchewan prior to going to Hong Kong. He was a little bit of a dreamer, I think a bit ambitious to travel from BC to Saskatchewan in the short time available for, well, I guess it was a few months, so he could have done it temporary. But his plan was like on a gap year to find his feet and see his father and his godfather and the country where he was born.
Okay. So as I mentioned, you have been on a few things. This case was featured in Unsolved Mysteries. You were on some talk shows, which we saw some pictures of. Do you want to start, now that we kind of know the very basics of the case? I know that there's been a lot that is put out there that is incorrect. Do you want to start by clearing up what's incorrect? Then we can kind of go into what we do know is correct. I know it's a lot, so take your
Charles
time.
arrived in Kelowna on the 3rd of May and slept in City Park, after which he found accommodation at the Gospel Mission and befriended a family who allowed him to stay a few nights at their home. And a member of the family gave him a ride to work. He'd already sourced work by the student employment centres. And he was busy doing his thing, making friends, sourcing accommodation and work, and contacting home. The first friend he met in Kelowna contacted me when we were on our way to our first trip to Hong Kong, our first trip to Kelowna to search for him. And her mother had seen my ad in the papers and they recognised his name in the newspaper, but they didn't recognise the photograph. Unfortunately, the media had used a bearded photograph instead of two, clean shaven and bearded. And so they didn't recognise him. Unfortunately, the police continued to use a bearded photograph despite me advising them that he was clean shaven in Kelowna. He'd grown a beard for a modelling assignment in Montreal at Christmas, which I'd flown out to see him strut his stuff on the catwalk. The first family that he befriended said that Charles used to pass by their apartment, to call in. And on one of the occasions he passed by, her brother was visiting and they were having dinner. They'd not seen her brother for 5 years, and it wasn't convenient for Charles to come up and visit. She didn't recall when this was, apart from it was when her brother took his summer vacation. It didn't really matter because she'd last seen him in August in a live wire nightclub.
Okay, I was going to ask if that was that. Okay.
They didn't talk, and so the police don't regard this as a positive sighting. In 1992, local volunteer divers and International Sea Search from Vancouver and their volunteer team searched in Okanagan Lake for a body after I received anonymous letters to say Charles had been killed at a party at the campsite and he'd been dumped in Okanagan Lake. After a 6-day search, they did find a body, and unfortunately the police at their press conference intimated that it was Charles, and the world press printed that we'd recovered his body. Unfortunately, it wasn't Charles.
Okay.
And the relationship with the authorities soured very badly at the time because they embarrassed themselves. They then decided to contact the family again that Charles had befriended. And contacted her brother's employers, and it was established that he'd taken his vacation in July. Joanne was never mistaken when she saw him. She made one small error, that she met him late April, which was incorrect. She actually met him early May, after he arrived on the 3rd.
Okay.
She's very bitter about this, because she's not blind, deaf or stupid, and she never ever said it was July. When they met, it was the authorities' interpretation of dates to make Charles look bad. After the body had been found in 1992, I tried my utmost to clarify these inaccuracies with dates, but it was just too difficult. So in the end, I just had to give in and leave it at May 26th. May 26th was the date he cashed his paycheck at the bank. If he was alive for 6 to 8 weeks after that date, we don't know where he was staying or where he was working. If he left his belongings at the campsite, perhaps he decided to go back to get his belongings. I don't know. We don't have those answers.
Okay. So apart from, I'm hearing feedback. Apart from that, them misidentifying the body, my understanding is on Unsolved Mysteries, and I bring this up because it's important for people to know if they want to follow the case, what is or isn't correct. My understanding is on Unsolved Mysteries, there were a lot of inaccuracies as well, right? Are those additional to the body and everything, I'm assuming?
There hearsay that one of the homicide officers quoted on Unsolved Mysteries, which he didn't take the trouble to clarify if it was true or not, and it blackened Charles's name and our family.
Okay. So I know you said it's not 100% confirmed, the sighting at the nightclub. How do you feel about it? Do you believe that was him at that nightclub? I mean, of course, there's no way to be sure, but what are your thoughts on it?
I believe Joanne's friend saw him. There was some hand gesture between the two of them, and that's all the police ever talked about. They never established the date she was in the nightclub, despite having 2 guests from Vancouver. And it's only 4 weeks in August, so it would have been relatively simple to establish the date they were visiting at the time. But sadly, there was no investigation done at the time. He went missing. I had to fight to get them to take a missing persons report. It took me several months before they would actually open a file. On the 10th of August 1989, I insisted they open a missing person file.
Okay. And this, of course, was in the time before cell phones and everything and social media, so he, of course, wouldn't have had any of that. But I understand they did go to the tent town and get all his belongings. What was left behind? What belongings did they get?
Who went there and got them?
Well, it says on his page here, the RCMP retrieved some of Charles's clothing and a shaving bag from a 1989 tiny town resident.
Yeah, but this was after my mother and I established that he was camping there. The police didn't find out he was camping there on our first trip across the world. We did. I'd been to the campsite and met the person who'd stolen his 2 shirts and shaving bag. On the first day, I wasn't aware of this. The campsite manager gave me 3 small items belonging to Charles: a rosary from his godfather, a tiny leather Bible, a tiny paper bangle and a leather strap from his boot. Couldn't understand what they were doing with the strap off his boot. These tiny 3 items were kept in an orange shed. The manager went straight to the shed and brought them and gave them to me. I was mortified. I said, "Is this all that's left of my son?" And sadly it was. I gave over this information to the police. The following day, Constable Blaney went into Tiny Town, sirens blaring. We could hear them in our motel room, which was horrific. And it was on that day they discovered that Trent Egan had taken his 2 shirts and shaving bag. Someone else had taken his 2 sweaters. The police retrieved what they could. The manager said that the tent, sleeping bag, backpack, personal papers, ID, and what they believed to be a passport in the shaving bag where Charles kept all his paperwork, they disposed of.
Okay. And so this Egan that you just said, Egan was his last name, right?
Yes.
I've seen him. He's actually on the banner of your Facebook page for Charles.
Excuse me, that's another Egan. Last year we found a source that said that Gary Egan was there at the time that Charles was murdered. We've traced him and he lives in Powell River. I've contacted him and tried to ask him to talk to Sergeant Paul Gosling, the officer in charge of the file, and he's not chosen to do so, and he's not happy about being contacted. It's only since this last 2 years we're aware of Gary Egan. The gentleman that, if you one can call him that took his clothing is Kevin Trent Egan, and his photographs are in my page.
Are Kevin and Gary related, or is it coincidence?
I doubt it. It's a very common name, surname. I've not been able to get hold of Trent Egan, but I am aware he was in Kelowna a couple of years ago. He's not on any social media. The campsite manager is. He's now blocked me from accessing his Facebook page. I've followed all the people that I'm able to who Charles met and befriended and worked for whilst he was in Kelowna, and over the years, and obviously pleaded with anyone out there who has information to come forward.
So you said somebody came forward and said that Charles was there. Egan was there while Charles was murdered. Who is this that came forward and said that?
It's a confidential source. It was a Tiny Town resident at the time.
Okay, so it's confidential, but I'm assuming so the police know who he is. Do you know if this person, he or she, I guess, have the RCMP spoken to them as far as you know how they would know this?
Yes, they have spoken to the source.
And as far as you know, is that a credible story?
Yes. I'm still waiting to hear if they've interviewed Gary Egan in Powell River. Everything goes at a very slow pace because they're overworked and there's so much crime in Kelowna.
I get a lot of cases from there. I was pronouncing it wrong, sorry, but because I'm always reading it. But I think you're like my third, fourth show from there.
Historic cases, get pushed to the bottom of the pile. I get very frustrated. It breaks my heart. But there was no priority given to Charles when he first went missing, and still no priority
Right.
or
Well,
find where his remains are.
but it at least sounds like, and again, we make no accusations on the show, but it sounds like they're zoning in on what could have happened to him, though, and the people
It's
that may be involved.
very possible. I understood they had a prime suspect, but the person wouldn't take a lie detector test. And I was hoping this last few years, they promised me they would re-interview that person, but as yet, I have no confirmation that they've been re-interviewed.
Okay. And Jalen Blaze asks, have you ever hired a private investigator throughout the years?
Sadly, many years ago, I did pay a retired RCMP officer in Coquitlam to do some investigation. Unfortunately, he just took my money and did nothing.
Wow.
Over the years, it's cost a lot of money to search for Charles, but when we first lost him, we didn't know that we wouldn't find him, within a short time. We didn't know if he'd come home. We didn't know that it would go on all these years. And of course, traveling from England to Canada is so expensive. Accommodation, car hire, etc. Communication costs have been unbelievable over the years.
I can imagine. And not being physically there only makes it that much harder. So, and I understand you may not know some things, and you may know some things you can't say because of the investigation. So if there's anything you don't want to answer, don't feel any pressure too. But is there anything else we know about this confidential source and that story, that Gary was there during his murder and all this? What was the story as far as we know, or can you say?
Basically, the people who were camping there were fully aware of Charles's murder in '89. The source that contacted me wasn't a witness. One of the people who may have been a witness has passed away. The gentleman, a helper at Tiny Town, Dave, who lived in a pink school bus, he may have known that he's passed away. Sadly, the people were in their 30s, which are now 60s going on 70. And I'm very concerned that, they're not going to be around if they're not re-interviewed soon. I'm 71, and I would like to find my son before I leave this earth. We have a place prepared for him. The Reverend prepared a place for him to be laid to rest alongside his beloved Nana in Cambridge, if he's ever found.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to pray that you do get answers. So
it's so easy to make an anonymous call. My number's out there, my email's out there, all contact details are there. They've been out there for over 25 years. I've kept confidences when asked. It's just so easy to tell the authorities where his remains could be found. I'm not asking for who's responsible to be put on a plate. Just allow me to bring my child home.
Oh, think we lost her, guys. Froze for me. I don't know if you can hear me, Denise, but you completely froze. Can you guys hear her? If anyone knows anything, please come forward. As you can see, Denise is grieving heavily, of course. It's been a long time. Denise, I don't know. I'm going to put you down there for a second. I don't know if you can hear me, Denise, but you completely froze for me. Did she freeze for you guys? No. Okay, now your screen's black, Denise. Denise, can you try leaving the software and coming back? Because we can't see or hear you. I don't know if you can see or hear me. All right, guys. So, okay, she did leave. Let's see if she can come back and reactivate. Let's go over some more pictures of him. We can go over some comments. Alberta Proud says the authorities should have not let this go on so long. Like she said, some have passed away. A lot have. It's been over 30 years. That's a long time. And as you can see by that, like that picture I showed of the guy, some of them were in their 30s, 40s, 50s when this happened. It's been 30 years since then. So we're losing a lot of information. And we pray that there's still someone out there that knows something. Lots of love says, have they checked with the local RCMP areas for John Doe's? We didn't. I'm sure she has, but we can ask her when she comes back. I apologize, guys, that we did lose her. Give me just a moment. Let me try to message her on Facebook. Give me 1 second. I think she was having tech issues because that sounded like a fan to me in the background. And she said that, she's 71 years old. So she said she has some trouble hearing, but she's almost positive there wasn't a fan on. So we tried for like 20 minutes and we couldn't figure out what it was. It sounded like a fan or like an airplane going around or something. I didn't quite know, but I tried everything. So I do apologize. But maybe it was just a result of tech issues because she is in the UK and I'm in Boston. So I don't know. I'm not a good tech guy. Maybe that's what was going on. Be United Missing Person says her heart is broken. It is such a harsh reality for her. Absolutely. I know you guys hear me say this every day, and check out Be United, guys. They're really awesome. Their links are in the description. Subscribe to their Facebook group and check out their website. They have a really, really fancy website. It's nice. Much better than I could ever make. But what was I going to say? Oh, I talk to these families all the time, and I couldn't even imagine being in their shoes. Just because I talk to them doesn't mean I fully understand, but I just try to do my best to help every way I can. Once we're done with this show, guys, if we can't get her back, we might have to end it here. But either way, please go down and leave comments below. Participating in the chat is huge and keep doing it, but it's not the same as leaving a comment on the video down below. That commenting is what tells YouTube that this is a video people will enjoy. So by you leaving a comment or two or three, something relevant, of course, don't just leave anything, a question or a theory or whatever. But every time you leave one, YouTube says, oh, people like this video, let's send it to more people. So by commenting, you are directly responsible for getting the story out to more people. You never know who's going to be the one that knows something. And especially in this story, we're running out of people that may know something. So we need to get it out there. Denise is trying to come back, so let's give her a couple minutes. Melissa Moore, thank you. She says, I appreciate and respect what you do and your team are doing. I enjoy watching you and hope for answers in every case. I don't have anything to offer, but you said commenting help. Keep it up. Absolutely, Melissa. Now, just to be clear, the commenting like you just did helps as well in the chat. But at the bottom of the page, there's another comment section. That is what the YouTube algorithm uses to determine how good a video is. So if no, we have the most awesome community ever. Our chats are always active. But one area where the channel does struggle is engagement, which is comments on the video below. I think it's because you guys get out everything you have to say in the chat. So that's understandable. But YouTube doesn't, as far as I know anyways, doesn't count that as engagement, the chat. It counts the comments. So that is one area the channel struggles. I know some channels that the video will have 1,000 views and 300 comments, whereas mine will have 5,000 views and 8 comments, And like I said, I think it's because a lot of people get it out in the chat. But when YouTube sees that, it says, oh, people are watching this video, but no one's really interacting with it. So we're not going to show it. So it makes it's all the difference in the world, guys. By you leaving a comment or 2 or 3 or whatever, I'm kind of repeating myself at this point. I think you get the point. Sorry. Lots of Love says she sounds like she's up north, but here in the east, we've got atmospherics and internet as my TV is bugging out at the moment. It might not be related though. Sorry, guys. Not sure if it's related. This one breaks my heart so much, says Missing Puzzle Piece. I know it's really, really awful to hear a mother have to wait over 30 years for answers. I mean, it's bad enough going through it at all, but waiting that long and just not knowing. Every family I talk to says the same thing. As awful as it happening is, the worst part about it is the not knowing. Where are they? Did they suffer? Was it quick? Those kind of things. I couldn't even imagine. She is trying to get back in, but I'm not. if we can't get her soon, I might end this, guys, just because I don't want to drag it on too long. We can always bring her back another time or something. Be United Missing Person says, if anyone wants to volunteer, we could sure use some help, and you can contact us on our website. The link is there under more. Even just to join our pages helps us. Yep. So if you see my description, guys, it says see more, I think, or show more, something like that. Click that and you'll see all the relevant links, including Be United. They are awesome. Missing puzzle pieces. She's has internet trouble too. Denise's internet went down. She's trying to reconnect. Okay. So we'll give her a few more minutes. And if we can't get her, we can end it there. Let's go over his pictures one more time. We did get the basics of the story out and his pictures, which is the main thing. I just don't want to have like 20, 30 minutes of me just kind of sitting around, because I don't think people want to see that. But okay, so here's Charles. Again, this is he was on Unsolved Mysteries. She's been on quite a few shows. She's done everything she can think of to help her son's case. And it's Kelowna, British Columbia. Was May 26, 1989. Listed as his missing date. This is him and her. By all measures, he seemed to be a great kid. And I think we got Denise back. Give me just a moment, guys. Hi, Denise.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I kept him busy.
Internet at my end, I guess.
Yeah. It happens. It's tech issues. And when you go live, you're always dealing with something. Okay, so what didn't we cover to this point? Any relevant details? I mean, you can go over anything from did he have any tattoos, identifying marks, anything like that, to well, actually, I'm sorry. You know what? We had a good question from, give me 1 second. It was right before. Maureen Trask says, I don't see comments on the video. How do I access this? It's at the bottom of the page, Maureen. If it's not there now, it will be once we're done and the video is uploaded. But that makes all the difference. Someone had asked, was it the same? So give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Jalen Blaze asks, did the story about him being in the lake come from the same confidential source about the Gary Egan and all that stuff?
In 1992, my second trip back to Canada, I received two anonymous notes saying that he'd been partying at Tiny Town and two men knocked him out and he died. His body is in the lake by the bridge. When the volunteer teams were searching beneath the floating bridge, another note came to say they were searching on the wrong side of the bridge. Wow. The person who wrote these notes has never been identified. May I, at this point, say that with various errors, especially in Unsolved Mysteries, I'm very grateful they did the segment on Charles. But some distant relative who I wasn't their favourite person tried to poison the search and suggest that Charles wanted to get away from his family. And so it's been very easy for the authorities to label him a runaway. One thing Charles wasn't. He was 20 years old. He adored his grandparents. He was on his journey with our support. If he'd wanted to disappear, he could have done any time going across Canada when we weren't sure, what destination he was at. He was constantly in touch by cards, telephone calls, collect calls, letters, greetings card, and always, how's my nana? How are the cats? Tell my nana not to worry. And he was a grown-up young man, not a teenager. We'd dealt with the teenage years long before.
Right. Okay, so and that source was never identified, but they were keeping close eye, because not only did they say the bridge, but then they said, "Oh, you're looking on the wrong side of the bridge."
Yes, the team moved over to the other side The police joined the search on the 5th day of the search, reluctantly, and they weren't present on the 6th day when my team found the body at 10:14. They contacted the authorities, who arrived at 10:17. The police divers went in and recovered the body, but it was international sea search assisted by local volunteer Kelowna divers who found the body, not the authorities.
Okay. And this distant relative that you said kind of poisoned the well and muddied the waters, are they in Canada? Were they around Charles around the time he went disappearing?
It's an ex-relative of Charles's father. She didn't approve that we'd parted, and didn't particularly like English people, and was poisoned her children against me, which I was stunned. I'd only met them twice in, I don't know, 25 years. I had no idea that she had such ill feeling towards my family.
And she had an issue with just English people for some reason? I mean, and because of the breakup, I understand that, but...
It was, well...
I don't mean I understand it like it's okay. I mean, I understand that was her position. Okay, but she does... her and her family are in Canada, right? Because he's in Canada?
Yes, in Eastern Canada.
On the other side.
I've not heard from them in over 25 years. Like the last time was when I was actually in Montreal. I can't recall the year, but it would be around 25 years ago. Because when I went to Canada, I backtracked his movements, and I still went, to where he'd been, to ask people if they recalled anything that might help us put the puzzle together. But after our first trip, we had only planned to stay 4 nights in each place Charles had visited, but we ended up being in Kelowna for 30 days plus. And on my second trip back, I based my search just in Kelowna. I planned to be there for 4 weeks, and because of the body search, I ended up being there for 7 weeks. It was a horrific ordeal. When the body was found, my team had asked me to stay away from the lake because it was difficult looking for Charles. I did what they asked. And on the 6th day of the search, April 3rd, 1992, the police came very harassed to tell me a body had been located. Unfortunately, they deemed that I should go to hospital, in their words, inverted commas, for a checkup, or whatever words they put at the time. I was manhandled into an ambulance, my cell phone's taken away from me, and driven to the hospital without a toothbrush or any dressing gown, anything. When I got to the hospital, I was on a trolley in the emergency, asleep. I'd only had...
Oh, I think we might have lost her again, guys. If that's the case, then we'll give her a moment, but I wasn't able to get that question in. Sorry for the tech issues, guys. When you do a live show, it's kind of unavoidable. Let me see. So she's having some tech issues over there. I do apologize. We get some good questions that have come up since then, but some of these I plan to ask, like how many people was he with? As far as I know, he was traveling alone, but I think no one has this name I think you're referring to on that day, and the story of him being knocked out and stuff. So I wanted to know that too. Jalen Blaze says he is on the Canadian Doe Network. We did lose her. Okay. Missing puzzle piece. Do you think the people he camped with did something to him? Maybe. It's sounding like that's where the investigation is leading, is my understanding. These are all things I wanted to get into with her, but we did lose her. Give me 1 second. See if we can get her back on quick, guys. Heck of a time with the tech issues, but hey, I guess we're lucky at all that we can get someone from the UK, and Boston, Massachusetts, to speak to each other live, right? Technology is amazing. As frustrating as it is amazing. Let me just see if she responds. See, I hate to cut it short because she might have more things she wants to get out, but is there a reward, Jason? I don't know. Let me see. Talking to her now on Facebook. Give me just a second, guys. She's reconnecting, so we can ask her, is there a reward? Reward. Be United Missing Persons asks, what about Canada Namus? And then that Jalen Blaze says he's on the Canada Doe Network. We'll ask about it possibly being people he was with and how many people was he with. Alberta Proud says whether the person left on their own or not, it should be a law that the police can at least look for the person to let the family know they are okay. Absolutely. Again, I make no accusations on the show, but I can tell you a lot of guests seem not so high. I mean, a lot of guests seem not so high on any authority, but the RCMP seems to be singled out as a lot of times not doing the best job. I don't know if it's lack of caring or ineptitude or what exactly it is. And again, no accusations, but I do hear some things. She says she's reconnecting. It's so slow, so I apologize, guys, but we'll try to get her on. I just upgraded my package here, which is why you don't see the little logo in the corner. So we have no time limits or anything. We can go as long as she needs, but I want to make sure it's in the best interest of everyone. That way, getting good information on stuff. Dark Business is sorry to be negative, but they don't. I think referring to the RCMP. Missing puzzle piece. Dark Vision says rewards don't work. Sorry to be negative, but they don't. Really? I mean, I'm no expert, so I don't know, but I would think that there would definitely be some people that would be motivated by them. But I'm sure there are a lot of cases where they don't, because the only person who knows is the one who did it. It's not worth getting a reward if you're in jail the rest of your life, and you won't get it anyways, of course. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they don't work. Jalen Blaze says rewards do work sometimes. No one has this name says, I'd love to watch a video on cases where a reward has worked and brought someone home. Yeah, I would like to think they work sometimes. I mean, I could definitely imagine the scenario where, maybe someone you're not super good friends with, but you hear that they might have did something and you think, I don't want to get involved with that. Billy's a good guy. And then, wait a minute, $50,000, screw Billy, So I can imagine it working, but I'm sure they don't always. Look at Delphi. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think sometimes people just don't know. I think tons of people are calling, trying to get it. It's just apparently nobody knows who this guy is in Delphi, which is kind of crazy because to me he's recognizable. But Anna had said that he kind of resembles like 90% of the people around there. It's common look and just a bigger guy with basic clothes. Hi, Denise.
Hi, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you and we can hear you too. Let's get a few questions in just in case that we have more tech issues. So I'm going to ask you a few at once. A lot of people saying you're beautiful and you're being so strong and things like that. So you get a lot of support in the chat. Jalen Blaze asks, was the search at the bridge only comprised of law enforcement?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
The search at the bridge, was it only law enforcement or was there family and such there?
No, it wasn't law enforcement. It was volunteer Kelowna divers International Sea Search from Vancouver and their volunteer team aided with a submersible camera. And on the 5th day of the search, the RCMP divers joined the search.
Okay.
On the 6th day, when the body was found, the RCMP weren't present. My team called them, and they took 3 minutes to get there.
Okay. And a lot of people asking if there's a reward.
There was at one time a $2,000 reward from Crime Stoppers. I'm not sure if that's still in effect. We used to offer a reward, but obviously after all these years of searching, we've become pretty destitute.
Yeah.
Lost our home and financially ruined.
Oh,
So
sorry.
whilst I could raise a little money, I don't have anything substantial to offer. In the past, when the reward, was prominent, it didn't seem to get any leads, sadly. People are afraid to come forward in Kelowna. I've been contacted recently by someone who knows somebody who stayed in Tiny Tent Town in '89, and something terrible happened to this person. At the moment, I'm trying to connect with them in Vancouver. Whether they will be able to assist the police, I don't know. I found them on Facebook, but they haven't seen my message yet. And I don't know if they'd be willing to talk, but something terrible happened whilst they were there, I understand. But when I go back to Kelowna, people contact the police, but sadly it's never sufficient for them to go to recover his remains. Obviously, if he's in Okanagan Lake, he may never be recovered. But if we know what happened to him, and who ended his life, then we'd have to accept that we won't recover his body.
And we have. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was looking at the pictures, so I didn't see that you were still talking. I apologize. Continue. Did I throw you off? Sorry.
Yes, pardon?
Did I throw you off by interrupting? I apologize.
Yes. And off topic for one moment, I'm a founder member of the Voices for Missing, which is the Missing People Choir, who auditioned for 2017 Britain's Got Talent, and we got through to the finals, and it was a huge accomplishment to get the faces of missing loved ones across the world, including my son.
Oh, that's really cool.
I'm still in the choir. Although it's a bit tough now, we've got the pandemic, but we have to do it on the video.
Oh, you're in the choir. You sing?
Yes, I'm a founder member of the choir.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you sung.
17, Britain's Got Talent. You will see the Missing People Choir singing in the audition, semi-final, and the finals. And we
I'm gonna check that out.
So proud, to sing for the missing.
Oh, absolutely. That's awesome. I can't think of a better cause, especially since it's so close to home for you.
And each year we sing at St Martin's in the Fields, which is the Queen of England's church in just off Trafalgar Square in London. We sing at the Missing People Carol service.
Oh. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Everyone check it out if you haven't yet. It's called the Missing Persons Choir. Oh, boy. I think we lost her again. Oh, we didn't get any more questions in. We'll try one more time to see if we can get her, guys. It looks like the internet went down again, unfortunately. So we'll try one more time, but we're hitting the hour mark, which is the typical. I'm going to put her down there for a second because she's frozen. Hang on. All right. And I was just about to ask how many people was he with, and do you think someone at the campsite did something to him? But we lost him. Guys, I will tell her to keep an eye on the comments at the bottom here, like the ones I've been talking about. So any questions we don't get in, please ask them there, and I'll have her answer them there. Obviously, we didn't get to go over everything because of all the tech issues, so I apologize. But at least we got something in with us being, 8,000 miles away or whatever it is. So it looks like this is a poem she wrote here. I'll zoom in so you guys can see it if you want to pause and read it. Very nice poem for her son called To Whomever Knows, 30 Years. Wow. I can't even imagine, guys. That's them. Charles was only 20 when this happened. Of course, now he'd be over 50, but for about 51 or so, 52, maybe 49. I can't count, sorry. It's been 31 years, yeah, so he'd be about 51. That's basically it. We'll give her another moment or so. I want to make sure she gets everything out, but this is probably a little frustrating, guys, so I do apologize. And yeah, she was smiling. I like to try to make them smile at least once during the interview. One thing I'll take the time to say now, something that bothers me is in these missing persons cases, Denise is calling me by Facebook. Hang on once. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Denise? Yeah, that's the only way. Let me see one thing. If I share my screen, I don't know if they can see and hear you. Hang on one second. Let me try this. Messenger call. Well, hang on. Can you guys see and hear her right now? We're trying it a little different through Facebook Messenger. Let me know if you guys can see and hear her, because she might have better luck with this. Can you see yourself on screen, Denise? Okay. Right. Can you guys hear her? If they can hear you, then we can just leave it like this. You don't even, so don't log in yet, since that's giving you so much trouble. Can anyone just let me know, guys, yes or no if you can hear her? Just type yes or no. If you can, then we'll just go like this, because it looks like we'll have better luck this way. Anyone? Get 30 people? Anyone? Someone give me a yes or a no? You can see but not hear. Okay, you know what? Hang on, let me redo it. I believe I know what happened. Give me 1 sec, Denise. Stop screen. Okay, share screen. I know what I did wrong. Wait, message. Yeah, give me 1 second. Share audio. Messenger call. I think. Can you hear her this way, guys? Let me see. Okay, everyone's saying no audio. Let's now tell me now. Can you hear her like this? So give me 1 second.
Coming back. Do you want me to try it on the computer again?
Let's just see if they can hear you now. We'll leave it like this. If not, we'll try one more time the old way.
Okay.
Because sound is very low. I don't know, guys. Okay, so if you can't hear her, we'll have to go try the other way. Is the sound low for everyone this way? Can you talk real quick, Denise? Say like 2 sentences.
Hi, this is a search for Charles. Missing since 1989.
Can you hear her that way? If you can, we'll continue. Or if not, we'll try the old way. Let us know, is the volume good or too low?
I'm sorry, guys, for this bad connection.
Okay, no, they said they could hear you good. Okay, so we can kind of go like this.
I'm grateful for your support and being there and being so patient.
Oh, don't worry about it. This is all to help you. So I try to do everything I can to get it out there. That's funny. No one has a name. Okay, so we asked, how many people was he with in the tiny tent town? And is that what you believe may have happened, is that someone, a resident there, did something?
Well, on the 19th of May, 75 bikers came into Tiny Town from the States en route to the Falkland Stampede. They came in to party. We don't know if Charles made a connection there. It's just an unknown quantity. The management of the campsite were very friendly with the bikers. So, I understand that they groom youngsters, whether they made a connection and, would explain why he was around for 6 weeks after he cashed his paycheck. We just don't know. I can't answer it.
You mean groom them as in to be in the biker gang?
Well, I understand that they groom people for, to be couriers and to utilize youngsters.
Okay.
For the gangs.
Huh.
What I've learned through watching, programs on the biker gangs in Canada and America.
Okay. Lots of love says I have.
Kelowna.
I'm sorry.
Kelowna does have a huge problem with the Hells Angels bikers there. I believe there are 2 chapters. There was another chapter, Kingpins, but they've since gone. But it's a very small town, and to have such a huge criminal element, it's very sad. But it's a resort town. People call it the LA of Canada, where the millionaires sell their yachts on Okanagan Lake. The lake is 98 miles wide, bottomless in parts. It's one of the coldest in the world and extremely dangerous for divers.
Yeah, it's a shame how often I hear that town constantly in what I do. It's always coming up.
Sorry?
You said that it's a kind of a bad area. I said in some ways, and I said I hear that town constantly. It's coming up in what I do, Kelowna, constantly.
Yeah. It was rated a few years ago the 3rd highest crime rate in Canada. When Charles first went there was only 40,000 residents at the time, and it's grown hugely.
A few people in chat went and listened to your Britain's Got Talent thing, and they love it.
Oh, can they see it?
Yeah, when you went away, I think when we lost you, they went and watched it. A couple people.
It was daunting, I tell you, daunting.
If I could sing, I'd be singing all over the place, but I can't sing for anything.
The hours we had to put in, you would never comprehend. It was amazing, though.
And give me 1 second. Yeah, awesome.
The choreographer was Billy Connolly's brother, and he shouted at the semi-finals, "Denise, get down here on this tee!" And I had to go and stand on the tee and don't move. and all of a sudden, I was the centre person there, and the platforms we were on were very wobbly.
Oh my God!
But, they were amazing. Simon Cowell and his colleagues, they were absolutely amazing to us.
Did Simon say absolutely dreadful?
He said the opposite. He was lovely. He wept. They all wept.
He cracks me up. Someone will give the best performance ever, and they'll say absolutely dreadful. I hated it. So give me just a moment. I know there's a question. So he cashed his check, right? Do you know, was he missing puzzle piece asked, was he planning on going camping? Where do we think he was headed when he cashed the check? What was he planning as far as we know?
He cashed the check in Orchard Park at the Royal Bank and hitched a ride into town. And after that, we don't know what happened.
So we don't even have him verified as leaving whoever picked him up to hitchhike, right?
Well, they contacted the authorities to say they believed it was Charles. They gave a ride into town.
Okay, and they've been questioned as far as you know, and they're cooperative and all that, the person who gave the ride?
Yes, the police interviewed them in, way back.
Okay. So we've covered a lot, but there's so much in this story that I'm kind of letting you lead it because I don't want to miss anything due to my own ignorance. What have we not covered that you think is important?
One area that he was slightly mistaken. In Canada, the file will remain open indefinitely. I made an application to the High Court for a presumption of death certificate to enable me to deal with Charles's financial affairs. The judge granted the application, but it can be reversed. It has no bearing on whether the police file is open or not. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police will keep the file open until he's found.
Okay.
One other good thing in the search that happened on the 14th of August, when the presumption of death certificate was granted, it was such a daunting day for me, absolutely grueling. The judge was amazing. A company called Locate International have come and taken on Charles's file, and they have coordinated with Leeds Beckett University in Yorkshire, and their law students are going to be looking into Charles's file to see if they can assist the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in solving the case. Locate International have already got 3 other families on board and 3 other universities in England, and they're working to expand this across the UK and abroad. Dave Grimstead is the co-founder, an amazing gentleman. He's a retired London detective, and he's given up his retirement to help families with missing and murdered loved ones.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if there's any groups or anything that you're a fan of, or even your Britain's Got Talent video, anything, if you want me to link to anything in the description below, we can, link to any groups or shout them out, anything like that.
Well, next Saturday, the 10th, is it the 10th now? Beg your pardon, the 17th of October, Gina for Missing Persons Foundation will launch their squeaky wheel tour across America and the world. Janelle Rapp is the founder. Her sister, Gina Boss, went missing in 2000, October 17th. And because she was 40 years old, the media weren't interested. And Janelle Rapp has devoted her life to helping families with missing loved ones. And she does a squeaky wheel tour each year, 6 weeks across America and Canada, helping and promoting awareness. This year it's going to be online, obviously with the pandemic, and I'm going to be a part of the tour, London base, and a colleague of mine, Johnny Reese, he's going to sing on behalf of the missing, for Charles and the missing in England.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, we can link to anything there, or I'll help try to spread awareness for that, for sure.
Thank you.
So people are asking, so you said he was declared as, is it dead in absentia or something like that? Is it considered homicide or murder, or is it still open, or where do we stand officially anyway?
The file is open, suspect of foul play. The judge granted the application for a presumptive death certificate. There are no legal labels on it, such as homicide, etc.
Okay.
She's accepted the circumstances. The judge accepted the circumstances leading up to his disappearance, that he's no longer alive.
Okay.
And they give a date, a time and a date, which they pronounce that he died, as it were.
And so I know that some of the people have passed. We don't know exactly who is left that has information, but we're trying to reach anyone that may be. Do you want to give a direct message to them as to anyone that might know something that's on the fence about coming forward? Would you like to speak directly to them?
To those who know the fate of young Charles in 1989 in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, please, I implore you, please find the courage to come forward. Call Crime Stoppers, email me, telephone, find a way of communicating and tell somebody where his remains can be found. You don't have to identify yourself. If you talk to me, I will keep your confidence. Just please help me to bring my boy home and lay him to rest in Cambridge, England, with his beloved Nana. Please.
Okay. You did amazing, Denise. Thank you so much. I think we'll end it there. I think we got the majority of it. Unless there's anything you want to say to finish up. I know Charles is proud of you.
Thank you to all who've joined us this evening. I'm very grateful for your support and your time. And if I haven't answered the questions online, I will answer them afterwards online for you.
Yeah, the live chat, sometimes it takes a few hours to process for you to see the live chat. But if you don't see it instantly, you'll see it within a few hours. And then there'll also be the comments below. So if anyone asks anything important or has something important to tell you, I can shoot you a message and let you know too if you haven't seen it.
Bless you.
All right. Thank you so much. And I will put this out everywhere I can, Denise, and do everything I can to help bring him home. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You did amazing. And that's saying something with all the tech issues. So you did a great job.
Good night. God bless.
I'm going to go listen to your music right now. To the Britain's Got Talent thing. I'm going to go listen to that right now.
Oh, you're going to?
Yeah. I haven't been able to check it out yet. Some of the viewers have when you dropped off, but I'm going to go do it right now.
The songs reach the heartstrings.
I can imagine. I'll let you know once I listen to it. All right. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Good night.
All right.
Good night to all.
Good night to everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow for the live update show. Thanks, guys.